Let's talk about assistive technology. Let's talk about the why, how, and what for each IEP. Why is assistive technology consideration so very important in schools? Well, let's talk about a few of these reasons. Well, the first thing is that it is the law. Every child on an IEP needs to be considered for assistive technology. It's a rather simple process, but they just want every child to be considered for assistive technology. So it isn't just for the students that are in wheelchairs. It's for every student in special education. Another really cool reason is the amazing things it can do for the child. It can help them learn, help them participate, help them with their activities of daily living, recreation, communication, or written expression. Here's some examples of different activity areas or deficit areas and some specific options that people can use. An example, one of the biggest reasons for assistive technology referrals is written expression. Students having a hard time getting their thoughts on paper or having them be legible by others. Many times what we do is have a para dictate. They'll write their answers out for them. Well, with some training and some work on that, we can have a portable keyboard could potentially make it so that there's no para needed, because the para will be hard to have after a student graduates unless they're Bill Gates. And of course, like I said, there needs to be quite a bit of training to take a student from having adult assistance to using assistive technology to help them meet their needs. Why is it important? Well, let's look at another reason. Well, money. In the end, I really think one of the biggest reasons is that it's going to save money for a school district and for society at large in the long run, the more independent students are. All right, out with the old, in with the new. The co-op has just put out a new format, a new flowchart to help us with this process to make it clean, efficient, and get working with kids so we can help them out. Well, how do we do this in SpEd forms? Well, that's kind of the end result is if it's not documented, it hasn't been done. So let's see how that happens here. In the services section on SpEds, you go into there and you'll see this statement here. This is at the top of your form here. But if you don't have one, if you don't have this form with you, we've made it easy by using SpEd forms. There's a spot in SpEd forms that you are able to go into by seeing the Assist Technology section here, and then you click on the blue drop down and it will give you an option like this. Up there are the three different statements we met. So what does it mean when you check one of these boxes? You fulfilled the requirements, but what does it mean? Well, we've made this handy form here to help you keep track of what that means. When you select no, it means that the student is making progress, is independent to their level, or is in the least restrictive environment. What that means is they're making progress on their goals, they're independent to their level. Something that's sometimes overlooked is maybe a child has a auditory comprehension at a first grade level and somebody may be asking for text to speech where it's read out loud to them, and they're asking them to read to have that type of information verbalized to them at a 10th grade reading level. Well, that's not really independent to their level. The first grade level is their reading level. What does it mean when we say that yes? Well, let's take a look at this. Well, we've considered it and it's already being used by the student. You just need to list what the student is using and why. So there are examples here on the form, but we've made it even easier by using SpEd forms. You go into SpEd forms and back to that drop down, and there are examples of assistive technology and how it's being used that you can use as a boilerplate. Let's talk about the third option, more data needed. Okay, so assistive technology has been considered and extended considerations are needed in the area of, you list the deficit area here. The following tools will be considered over what time frame are you looking at? 6 weeks, 2 months, 6 months? And then list the assistive technology. There is a handy chart that is on the Northern Lights Special Ed Co-op website that gives some deficit areas here in the bold that you could list as the deficit area that you're hoping assistive technology will address. There's also some general terms of assistive technology that is possible. There also are some questions that can help you implement a successful trial here in setting it up and talking things through. Having a simple data sheet can help you plan the trial by using the questions on the flowchart as well as keep data for post-documentation. Before you go to this section, it is a good idea to talk to your administrator before going into an IEP meeting. If you have like possibly an iPad in mind for a student, you might want to go and talk to the administrator before going into the IEP, as they may have options available to trial before you mention a specific piece of assistive technology. After you have done the trial, it's time for some post-documentation. Make sure you report to the parent how the results went. You're going to want to document it in the AT section of the progress report, the PLAP, or otherwise called the PLEP, or in the meeting minutes. Just make sure it's documented somewhere. If it is successful, you're going to want to amend the IEP and complete the AT decision documentation form and send it to the business manager. This is also on the Northern Lights Special Ed Co-op website. That form looks like this. After you've already set up the trial, the form is rather simple to complete. You just want to turn this in to your district's business manager. If the trial is unsuccessful and it didn't help the student make gains on their goals or help them in a least restrictive environment, you're going to want to document the trial was done and any relevant information. You're going to do that in one of these areas up here as well. The last part of the form that we have yet to discuss is down here. There are many helpful resources on the Northern Lights Special Ed Co-op website. Let's take a peek. Here we are at the Northern Lights Special Ed Co-op website. Resources, let's take a peek there. Assistive technology resources, I click on that, and there is quite a bunch of information that is quite helpful. A lot of the things we discussed today, the examples, the deficit areas, some consideration things to think about and what different P team can do, the importance of assessment, and the SET framework is a very valuable tool to look at and become more familiar with. Options for payment, UDL, what that can mean, and some of the forms today specifically right here are the 3 forms that you can download and have available for yourself or your staff. And the other form here is the technology decision documentation for the business manager. That is right here. You'll click it and then it will download it to your computer. So we hope this form will be helpful in meeting the needs of students and doing it in a clean and efficient manner. Good luck.